They said a better community couldn't be done. The poor are lazy. They don't like to work. They keep having babies to get more welfare money. They buy stuff they don't need and can't afford, like big screen televisions, etc. They abuse the social system. They don't value education. Take away the services, and the poor will be forced to be productive like the rest of us. We found jobs. We got through school. We work hard and budget. We've gotten ahead. Why can't they? This is the narrative we often hear. Generational poverty is poverty that is inherited across generations. A mentality that there is no way for one to get out of poverty. Hopelessness is the key factor in creating the cycle from one generation to the next. Breaking the cycle of generational poverty. They said a better community couldn't be done. My name is Arlo Washington. I'm the founder and president of People Trust Community Loan Fund. I understand the phrase by the Reverend Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. Growing up in a single-parent home, experiencing generational poverty and hope is all we had. My mother had me when she was 16 years old and had to drop out of school in the 10th grade to take care of me. We lived in a low-income housing project. I was listening to Wynn talk about Highland Park. We called it Highland Court. My mother instilled in me to pray, work hard, and put all my trust in God. I can remember being in grade school and kids would crack jokes because I had on cheap shoes and our car was raggedy. We were poor, was the narrative. By the time I turned 11, my mother had 2 other children and still not married and still in the projects. It seemed all hope for a better tomorrow was gone. I started working at age 14, a summer job for low-income youth. I can remember the first time I was able to help my mother pay the bills. The pride I felt gave me joy. And in my heart of hearts, we were sure to escape the poverty that plagued us. My mother graduated from Philander Smith College, and we were on our way. So we thought. But 2 weeks before my high school graduation, she passed away with cancer. My world was turned upside down, and I was lost and didn't know what to do next. She never got the home she always wanted, and I wasn't going to be able to make her proud and lift her out of poverty. Excuse me. How will I change the narrative? Where do I begin? How do I go from here to breaking the cycle of generational poverty? Not just for me, but for the community. They said a better community couldn't be done. As a child, I've always sought to carve out my own path and work for myself. I can remember what inspired me to become a barber. It wasn't always in the budget for me to get a haircut, so I would go to Royale's barbershop and sweep hair in order to get a free cut. One day, another customer came in a hurry and offered me $30 to go in front of me. After I took the money, I thought to myself, this barber business ain't so bad after all. And I love the connection Mr. Roy had with the community. We learned so much being there, sitting and listening to all the stories and community concerns. Barbers are the cornerstones of the brick buildings and the pillars of the community. And this was a sure way for me to create a better future for myself, my family, and help my community along the way. I graduated barber college in 1997. I wanted to start my own barbershop, but couldn't get a loan because I had no credit. Couldn't borrow from family because everyone was in need and poor. In 2000, I opened my first barbershop, my first business, with a $1,750 student loan check I had received from the university. And a friend loaned me a chair. They said a better community couldn't be done. As I made money, I reinvested back into my business. One week, another chair. The next week, another station. Until the shop was full with 9 employees and business was booming. So I did it again and again. 27 employees later, I want to do more. How can I better my community? And what does that look like? I know, I'll reinvest the money from the barbershop and we will open a barber college. Get it licensed, accredited, and federally funded in efforts to offer quality education, train and place barbers throughout the community. It will be a career for some and a stepping stone for others. What it did for me, it could do for them. 2008 was the birth of Washington Barber College. In 2009, Arkansas became a credit desert with the eradication of payday lenders. Recidivism rates and poverty was on the rise. Hearing the stories of generational poverty and how unbanked families were suffering to survive. Seeing and knowing the need for access to affordable credit and capital in low-income communities for individuals and small businesses just like mine prompted me as a small business owner to launch People Trust. In efforts to bridge the gaps to creating generational wealth in low-income communities, in the same low-income communities that I grew up in and now made my living. People Trust is a nonprofit community development financial institution certified by the U.S. Department of Treasury with a mission to provide financial products and services to communities that would not otherwise receive the said opportunities. In efforts to create access for those who need it most, we launched our fully automated online lending platform and have made over 200 consumer and small business loans to borrowers with little or no credit. Experiencing generational poverty provided job training to over 500 individuals, of which 50% were felons, and 15% have gone on to open their own businesses and employ others. Breaking the cycle of generational poverty is what I feel I did and what I always was trying to do for my family, my mother, and now my community. In this is a little story about 4 people. Name everybody, somebody, anybody, and nobody. There was an important job to be done, and everybody was sure that somebody would do it. Anybody could have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry about that because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought that anybody could do it, but nobody realized that everybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done. They said a better community couldn't be done. Well, I guess we'll have to keep proving them wrong.